What was your attraction to the red?
I know a couple man from school, elementary.
From elementary. How you learn about this?
Just banging.
Huh?
Just repping our flag, just banging for the flag.
Okay. What is some of the sayings when we tag blood tag? Like if I go to an area and I want to see if I got any other bloods around, what would I say?
Bang bang.
Huh?
Bang bang.
Bang bang. What's another one?
What up, blood?
What up, blood? How much people you think repping bloods wrong here?
Probably about 500 or so.
500?
Probably more.
500 or more.
This is where we're going to take the discussion today. In the last couple of days, let's just say between Wednesday and today, there's been a serious amount of firearms discharged in the Oswald Harris Court area, or if you live in the Garden Street area, and not just the ordinary handgun fire discharge that we've been hearing. We've been hearing some serious firearms out there in some of these neighborhoods. Stuff that seems straight out of like a war.
Let's talk gun talk. You ever been around guns that you know ain't belongs in our hand them?
Yeah.
You see any guns in school?
Nice.
Knife, but guns on the street. What kind of gun we talking?
AR-15, AKs, Max, 38s.
Are you afraid to die?
No.
School age students and also in the community here in St. Thomas is repping Crips. Or like what kind of numbers?
I would say 200, 300 or more. 300 or more, 200 at least.
Okay.
You have way more Bloods than Crips.
Say that again?
You have way more Bloods than Crips.
Right.
Bloods, I say 600, 500.
It's about the money. And the money end. What type of operation do we have to support the needs when it comes to making money?
Could do a lot of things.
Like
Hustle,
kind of hustle.
weed. I never seen crack in my life. Where probably from, nobody don't sell crack on that.
Okay, so you got one way, which is selling of weed, right? What's other ways?
Robbing,
When we rob, what kind of robbery?
whatever, jewelry, whatever.
Crip you know in age.
In age, I would say 9.
And what would be the oldest crip you know in age? Ballpark,
Not that old, 20 something.
20 something now, you know. Okay. Question. In St. Thomas home here, is there any place that you wouldn't go because of your hood and your color true to the blue? What areas wouldn't you venture off in?
A lot. I wouldn't go because I'm scared. I wouldn't go because it'd be dumb. Where would you go?
Like what areas?
Like town, certain places in town period. On the south side, like on Nada Buvoni side. And that's it. On us, like 215. You just need more things to go on in the island and it'll be fine.
The fact that we as a tactical unit or the anti-gang unit go out there and do apprehension, we still look for alternative, different ways to redirect our youths because again, the arrest rate, I mean, there's more to it than just going out there and arresting an individual. We have to find alternative for these individuals so they don't want to get involved in that kind of activities. So again, our focus is yes arresting, yes breaking up these groups, but we're also focusing on alternative and way to redirect these youths into a more positive role. Right now we have a program through this, the anti-gang unit and myself, called Strictly for Youths. The Strictly for Youths program is actually a talk show where the youths could actually come and vent or say what's on their mind.
So definitely keep it locked. Remember, it's 1620 AM, 103.5 FM, www.rebroadcasting.com.
The information that we get from the youths, from our radio show Strictly for Youths, as far as a solution to the crime and the violence and the murders and the assaults as of right now, what we gather from them is that the youth face something, well, not only a lack of communication, but also a lack of opportunity. Many youths feel as though that the Virgin Islands, their home, doesn't really care about them in that way and fashion, as far as there aren't enough avenues for them to go down as far as pursuing their dreams and being successful. Many youths feel as though that they have to leave the Virgin Islands in order to make something of themselves. So those youths that are, maybe less fortunate and don't have the opportunity to leave the Virgin Islands can't really pursue their dreams in that way at home per se. So in that instance, they would, at least the information we're getting from them in that instance, they're already upset because they feel as though their community doesn't take care of them. So in that aspect, they feel as though, well, if my community is not going to take care of me, then it doesn't matter what I do. I must get ahead no matter what, even if it's stepping on the backs of someone else or another local or another resident of the Virgin Islands. Lack of opportunity is a major issue with our youth today, and that is a major issue, I should say again, that the youths are telling us that they have a problem with in our community.
We've had callers call in, not only female and males. We've also had certain, those that they would want to call the bad boys in the community. They listen to our show, and we've heard feedback from them and saying that it has touched them and affected them in ways that they're reconsidering some of the choices that they're making in their lives. So not only are we affecting the masses, the good and the bad, and the youth, we're trying to affect everyone in whole.
I've often watched children, the little ones coming out of school, and I raised 2 sons as a single parent, so I know what the challenges of that are. But I've watched them and looked at their innocence and their sweetness and wondered, when do they go bad? When do they, and certainly, the large majority of them don't go bad. But the ones who do, when does that happen? And for me, it happened in 7th grade. I mean, that's when I started to be a wild child. I know what that's like too, but as someone said to me recently, a local man who I interviewed for a story, in the old days, these kids didn't have guns. Now they have guns. And they don't think there's anything wrong. We don't think there's anything wrong with having a gun. And so what might have ended up with a black eye 20 years ago ends up with a death. Who I asked about what they wanted to be when they grew up. A lot of them want to be policemen. A lot of them want to be firemen. They want to be teachers. They want to be nurses. A couple said they wanted to be a doctor. And when I asked them why they wanted, they were interested in those professions, the answer was because we want to help people across the board. And I have a basic spiritual belief that we're born wanting to serve because that's what we're put here to do. So these children to me are an example of that idea that as human beings we understand that we're put here to help each other.
When I grow up, I would like to be a teacher. I want to be a president to help others.
When I grow up, I want to be an MBA.
An astronaut. When I grow up, I want to be a doctor.
I want to be a lawyer.
And when I grow up, I'm going to be working in a zoo. When I grow up, I would like to be a baseball player. A person who likes to sell cars.
There's been studies that have been done. There's so much evidence that when you give a child hope, when you give them the ability to read and to think critically, they're not going to go out and shoot someone. They're going to become a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist or one of those professions because they have hope. I've been in 3 armed robberies, and every single time that I had a gun in my face, I was very aware of who the people on the other side were. They're hopeless. They have no hope. And that's true poverty. And that's, how can we live in a community the size of our community and not see to it that every child, by the time they get to third grade, can read? It's unconscionable.